Joining us tonight to assess the future of that party and what it could be is Johnny Burtka, who's the executive director of the American Conservative. Johnny, thanks very much for coming on tonight.
Thanks so much for having me on, Tucker.
When Elizabeth Warren, and I just want to restate here, this is far from an endorsement of Elizabeth Warren, whom I couldn't vote for because she's so far out on the social issues, it would be wrong to vote for her, in my view. But when Elizabeth Warren is clearer about how to make this country, how to focus on American jobs, clearer on economic nationalism than Mitch McConnell, where are we? What is happening?
Here's the bottom line, Tucker. Middle and working class Americans of both parties are sick and tired of looking around their country and seeing the once great industrial cities, places like Detroit, Cleveland, and Baltimore, lying in complete and utter ruin. Tucker, did you know that in the city of Baltimore, there are neighborhoods where the life expectancy is comparable to that of Yemen and even worse than Syria and North Korea? This is a travesty, Tucker, and much of the problem was caused by the neoconservative and neoliberal trade policies that devastated the manufacturing bases in these once great cities. I find it highly ironic that the same people who are advocating endless war in the Middle East for the past 20 years are the same ones devising the economic strategies that have turned our great cities into places that look like the Middle East, Tucker.
So why couldn't you? It's really simple. Look at the polling. Most people want what I just described in the opening script, which is a party that isn't socialist, but that cares about their economic well-being and puts that first, and the country's economic well-being first, but that also isn't radical and crazy on social issues. It doesn't think third-term abortion is liberation. Why couldn't you have a party that's economically nationalist and socially conservative? Why is that so hard?
Well, that's the Republican Party of Abraham Lincoln, Tucker. You might remember the famous Lincoln quote when he was out on the campaign trail saying that, "Give us a protective tariff and I will make us the greatest nation on earth." Tucker, the United States was the greatest nation on earth, and we had a manufacturing base that was the best in the entire world. And over the past 20 years, we've simply handed that over to our greatest geopolitical rival, China. And we know from Donald Trump's reelection that many of his voters fell in that exact camp. They were economically nationalist, and they were socially moderate to conservative. And I think there's a huge opportunity there. But it seems like the Republicans in Congress are stuck in the 1980s. They're bent on the Reagan policy prescription, which was right for its time, but we're in a different era 30 years later. And it's time for them to get with the program. It's not the party of Mitch McConnell. It's the party of Abraham Lincoln. So it's time to embrace economic patriotism, and it's time to put forward an agenda that puts American citizens, families, and workers first. And if they can do that, they can build a majority that will last a generation. Now, there are a few Republicans in Congress that seem to be taking the hit. I know that on domestic issues, Senator Rubio has developed a plan to counter China's 2025 plan, which I've been pretty impressed by. And I know that others, like Senator Josh Hawley, have been willing to shed the free market orthodoxy to take on other issues like the problems caused by big tech and woke capitalism. And I applaud both of them. And Rand Paul, same on the foreign policy, America First issues. But we don't need, we can't afford to have 3 senators who are in line with the president on these issues. We need 30. We need 50. And we're not getting it.
Yeah. Voters want it. They could win. That's the program that puts them in office. I agree with you. Johnny Burtka, great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Tucker.